24 hours removed from a god-awful Fastlane pay-per-view. Last night, we called out Monday Night Raw for a horrific, and I do mean horrific, pay-per-view effort last night. 24 hours later, they heard us. They heard us. And boy, howdy, did we get. What did we get tonight? What a difference 24 hours makes. 24 hours ago, we get a god-awful pay-per-view that Bullock and I rated 3.5 out of 10. Michael Fletcher rated 4 out of 10. D.D. Woodson rated it 2 out of 10. Needless to say, this Monday Night Raw will not be enduring that same rating tonight. It's going to be a lot more than that, let me tell you that. Because tonight, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you right here and now, Monday Night Raw needed a shot in the arm. Oh, boy, did we get one. And I could not think of a better place for that shot in the arm to go down than the IWC capital of the world, Chicago, Illinois. Chicago, you did what Milwaukee could not do last night. Deliver a quality show tonight. That is the road to, that's how you start the road to WrestleMania. You grab us by the throat and you tell us to get excited for WrestleMania. We said we weren't excited for WrestleMania. Well, that was 24 hours ago. 24 hours later, I think we're starting to get excited for WrestleMania now, as we should be. Monday Night Raw, you did it tonight. That's all I can say. And SmackDown Live, you boys and gals just got put on notice, big time, tonight. So MF, you and your little blue friends out there, you and your little Team Blue friends out there, you better step it up tomorrow night, boy, because after what Monday Night Raw did tonight, my Lord in heaven.
You don't have to worry about Team Blue. The new A show of WWE, we deliver and week out. We're not just any Johnny-come-lately from the block. We'll be ready. We saw what Raw did tonight. We're prepared. Guarantee you.
I know you will. I know you will be. And I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow night when you boys and gals meet in Indianapolis. But it was all about Chicago tonight and Monday Night Raw. 24 hours removed from a god-awful and dud Fastlane pay-per-view. Monday Night Raw delivered perhaps the most interesting and newsworthy Monday Night Raw to date. And right now, the three of us, sit back and relax, my friends. Get your popcorn ready, because we're going to have some fun tonight. This, if it's Monday night, oh, yes, it is. Oh, hell yes, it is. Ridiculously Raw. And with that being said, hello, friends. I am your host, the ridiculously over gentleman, Anthony Florio, joined, of course, by the host of the Cerebral Smack Talk, good old MF, Michael Fletcher. We also got the Phenom, Michael Bullock. The only bad news I have for this show tonight is the first.
You mean an excited Phenom?
Oh, yes, an excited Phenom, Michael Bullock. I stand corrected. I do have some bad news, one round of bad news tonight, and that is the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, D.D. Woodson, will not be joining us tonight. A family, I guess you could say a family crisis came up or something like that. So, unfortunately, D.D. Woodson will not be joining us here tonight. She messaged me on Facebook hours ago, so she will not be joining us tonight. Maybe tomorrow night for Cerebral Smack Talk. I don't know. We'll see. But for right now, D.D. Woodson will not be joining us here tonight. So the three of us will be holding it down like we always do. And boy, howdy, guys. Oh, my. What else is there to say? So, batten down the hatches. Let's get into it. Monday Night Raw. The fallout from Fastlane. We saw what happened last night at Fastlane. Let the bad taste in all our mouths. Not tonight. That's all I can say on that. The Allstate Arena, Chicago, Illinois, the IWC, capital of the world. That's where this Monday Night Raw was held tonight. And boy, did they make up for that god-awful effort we had last night. We started it off with an in-ring segment the return of the United States Heavyweight Champion Chris Jericho. He shows up and basically cuts a promo about Kevin Owens and what Kevin Owens did to him as part of the Festival of Friendship a few weeks ago on Monday Night Raw. And then that brings out the now former Universal Champion Kevin Owens. He has his rebuttal. And one thing led to another. And guys, this is where the newsworthiness kicks right off. Let's add another match to WrestleMania. And this was one that we had happening. This is not a surprise. We knew this fight was going to eventually happen. And it's now official. It'll be Chris Jericho defending his United States Heavyweight Championship against Kevin Owens. And, well, what else is there to say except one of the segments of the night. Before what we saw at the end of this Monday Night Raw tonight, I was going to call this the segment of the night, but I can only say now second, maybe third best segment of the night. But this was a very good segment anyways. I mean, it was a good segment with Jericho coming off a bit sappy, yet mostly endearing when it came to wanting a best friend. The crowd was hot for Jericho as a babyface, and the rebuttal of Owens labeling him a tool he used was great. And one thing led to another, and then Samoa Joe shows up, Sami Zayn shows up, all four-man brawl. I honestly thought we were going to get a tag team match, but no, it leads into our first fight of the night. And unfortunately, this is going to end up being a cutout fight, I'm afraid. Kevin Owens against Sami Zayn. It's not often we say an Owens and Zayn fight is a cutout, but Kevin Owens beat him in about 4 minutes. So that's really, I don't think that fight's worth getting into, unless you guys want to get into it. But that's completely up to you. But at the same time, it was a good win for Owens with the usual dose of Sami putting up a good fight. The broadcast team did a good job of recapping their history. Owens was violent and sadistic. Don't look now, but Raw suddenly has some great money-drawing heels in Owens, Samoa Joe, and Braun Strowman. And meanwhile, I'm convinced that there will be a big payoff for Sami Zayn one day. I'm holding out faith. I'm not giving up on Sami Zayn yet. So with all that, one of the segments of the night for sure, no doubt about it. Not the segment of the night, though. That comes later. So that's all I can say there. So a very good start to what ended up being an unbelievably newsworthy Monday Night Raw. Maybe the most newsworthy Monday Night Raw we've had in a very long time. Wouldn't you agree with that, MF, as we bring in the host of the Cerebral Smack Talk, Good Old MF, Michael Fletcher? Come on in. I'm very curious as to how you felt about this opening segment. And if you want to get into the Owens and Zayn fight afterwards, feel free. But if you don't and want to consider it
that's a cutout. You called it. It's a cutout. Yeah. I'm not going there. As far as the segment goes, it was good. That's what we expected. That's what we wanted. Even though I feel this fight should have been for the Universal Championship. Look, the United States Heavyweight title is not to sneeze at. It's a great lineage title. Owens here, with that belt before. So, I mean, I think we can all say or all agree that this would be a great match. This is a show stealer fight for WrestleMania. Good for what it's worth. That Samoa Joe got involved. I didn't mind Sami Zayn getting involved because, you got to keep that rivalry hot for now. I think they're going to do something with Joe that's going to be a bigger payoff for him for WrestleMania, but we'll wait and see. For Sami, we got to wait and see what happens with him. I want to see him in the big show. I want him at WrestleMania. I think we all want to see Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. If he's not booked in that fight for WrestleMania, then maybe the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale, which I think is a little bit beneath him, because, I mean, think about it. A year ago, he was in that multi-man ladder match for the Intercontinental title. That's more worthy. He deserves to be on the main show of WrestleMania. But no, I think everything was good. Like we said, the fights are cut out.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, this was a really good segment. I do agree that this was the second or third best segment of the night. I mean, Chris Jericho, like, he just wanted answers on why on why Kevin Owens betrayed him, and Kevin Owens basically came out and said, "You know what? You were never my best friend. You were just a tool. I just needed someone to help me keep my Universal title. And when the time was right, I was ready to stab you in the back, just like I did to Sami Zayn." So, and then Jericho was basically like, "You know what? How about we fight at WrestleMania?" And Owens is like, "Okay, I'll fight you, but if you put that United States Championship on the line." So I guess it's on now. Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho for the United States Championship at WrestleMania. So yeah, Floria, what did you rate the fight?
I didn't get a chance to rate the fight yet, and I'm going to do that right now. If you're all set there, Bullock. So
all right, well, because I think Fletcher said it was a cutout.
yeah, he did. So
yeah, I'm not going to get into it either.
Yeah, I'll do what I do, and I'll give you my my thought, because somebody's got to give, at least one of us has to give a thought on it. So might as well be me. So like I always do. 2 stars for the effort. The match was a bit short, and some may say along the levels of a squash, but considering Kevin's mood in recent events, it was a good win. So it's really all that's really all. And it was a good win for Owens, with the usual dose of Sami putting up a good fight. And like I said, the broadcast team did a good job of recapping their history. Owens was violent and sadistic, and that's all that, and that's pretty much all there is to say on that. So I'll give it 2 stars for the effort. Now, this is where the fun really begins. We actually had not 1 but 2 championship matches on this show here tonight. And we're going to get into the first one right now. Cruiserweight Championship on the line. A return match from the Royal Rumble. Adrian Neville defending against challenger and former champion, the outlandish Rich Swann. You remember Neville took the title from Rich Swann back at the Royal Rumble at the end of January in the Alamo Dome. Winner of the match in 13 minutes and 50 seconds via submission, and still the WWE Cruiserweight Champion and King of the Cruiserweights, Adrian Neville. But wait, there was more. After the match, Austin Aries comes into the ring and tries to get an interview with Adrian Neville. And one thing leads to another, and then more. And then guess what happens after this? And these two get in each other's faces. Neville pushes Aries' buttons, and then all of a sudden, boom! Austin Aries lays out Adrian Neville. I guess the dirt sheets were true, guys. And I think all signs are leading and are pointing to that rumored Cruiserweight Championship match for WrestleMania, with Adrian Neville squaring off against Austin Aries. So, MF, it's only fitting we start off with you here, because you've been the biggest Neville mark out of all of us, even though we respect his abilities, but you've been the one who's put him over the most. And Austin Aries, I think we're getting it. I think we're getting it in Mania, boys. I think they pulled the trigger.
The one thing I wished Aries would have done, I wish he would have pulled the last chancery on Neville. If he would have hit him with that, I would have lost my mind. I would have marked out, man. That would have been it for me. As much as I am a big mark for Neville, and I'm also a big mark for Austin Aries, the greatest wrestler alive. This guy is unbelievable. From Ring of Honor to TNA, and Anthony, you know this better than anybody else. He was probably the greatest X Division champion in the history of that company. Remember Option C when he pulled that and became really the first man to ever pull the Option C and win the TNA World Title. WWE has a good career, good setup. Then that unfortunate injury comes up at a horrific time for him. He gets designated to be a commentator for 205 Live, and now cleared by the doctors, ready to fight, and what an opportunity now to possibly be fighting at the Showcase of the Immortals, to be fighting at WrestleMania for the Cruiserweight Championship of the World. And then for Adrian Neville and Rich Swann, you know what? Their fight at Royal Rumble was good. Not bad. This one was better. Tonight was even better. Oh my God. 3 stars to 3.5 stars for me. This fight was awesome. I loved it. I loved everything about this match. This was a good, solid cruiserweight match. And I'm going to say it, man. I don't know what got into the cruiserweights, but back-to-back nights, really good matches. Really impressive fights I've seen. So I got nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
What did you rate the fight, Fletch?
3 to 3.5 stars.
All right, just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I do agree. 3 to 3.5 stars is my rating on the match, and yeah, I mean, 2 nights in a row, the cruiserweights have really good matches, and yeah, and all I can say is what happened afterwards was like, wow. And Austin Aries certainly made a statement, and it looks like you said, the rumors are true. It looks like it's gonna be Neville defending the Cruiserweight Championship at WrestleMania against Austin Aries, and that match, I do agree. I think it's definitely gonna steal the show, no doubt about it. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So Florio, it is yours.
Fight of the night. What else is there to say? This was the fight of the night for me when it comes to the in-ring action. I mean, no other match came remotely close to topping this one. 3 3/4 to 4 stars. This was an unbelievable Cruiserweight Championship match. 100% agree with MF. This was far and away better than the match they had at the Royal Rumble. Hands down. I 100% agree with it. And it was so good to see a Cruiserweight title match get so much time, even though there were multiple commercial breaks. The Cruiserweights click when there's actually something at stake. Adrian Neville is carrying the division on his back at this point. And then you follow up the angle with Aries. That was a very good angle. Even earlier, people were questioning whether there was enough time to set up this match properly for WrestleMania. They answered the question here. We're already looking forward to it. So 24 hours ago, when we wrapped up our rants and our scathing promos about last night's god-awful Fastlane, we said we weren't excited about WrestleMania. Well, I think they just took care of that tonight. So and you're looking at it would only be the 3rd time that we've seen a Cruiserweight Championship bout at WrestleMania. You got to go back to WrestleMania 19 when Matt Hardy defended against Rey Mysterio, and what was a solid but not overly spectacular bout. That was probably a good 2.5-star match. And then you had that Cruiserweight Open, that Cruiserweight Invitational Open thing that they had at 20 with Chavo Guerrero ultimately coming out of that. So I think this will blow. It'll blow the other two bouts out of the water. No doubt about it. And MF's absolutely right. Austin Aries, we know his body of work. I mean, longest X Division champion in TNA history. Former TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Option C. Won it from Mr. Glorious himself, Bobby Roode. Destination X 2012. I remember it like it was yesterday. Damn near 5-star classic. I mean, for anybody who hasn't watched that match, you got to go out of your way to see that fight because that fight was epicness. And this match right here is going to be epicness. And we're going to be channeling our inner JBL. Call the Orlando PD because them boys are going to steal the show. That's all there is to say on that. So, and it will be addressed tomorrow night on 205 Live. They already announced that Austin Aries is going to have a message for Neville. I wonder what that message could be. Oh, yeah. I think we already know what that message is going to be. He's going to call him out for Mania. There's no doubt about it. So, and MF, with your permission, I am hoping that we can maybe briefly address that tomorrow night on Smack Talk because that's a newsworthy and major angle that we got to get into. So
we will monitor it if I deem it necessary, we will cover it. I'm very open to anything about it on 205 Live. As many of you guys know, when we announced the crowning of a new Cruiserweight champion, we broke it right then and there on the show. So yeah, if anything does happen that warrants us to talk about it, then yeah. Other than them issuing the challenge for WrestleMania, I don't see nothing else that would do it. But if we can confirm Neville versus Aries for WrestleMania, of course I'm gonna stop the show and we'll get into it.
Very good. That's all I ask. So because let's face it, this is the road to WrestleMania, and we want to make sure our wonderful viewers out there get the very best road to WrestleMania coverage when it comes to YouTube and the whole 9 yards. I mean, I want to make sure you wonderful fans out there get handsomely rewarded because of the fact that our Fastlane preview show from last Thursday night, gentlemen, over 200 views. Hello. So unbelievable. So very grateful for that. And we definitely want to make sure you get handsomely rewarded for your wonderful efforts. So, all right. And now the fun continues. Another in-ring segment, this time with the new Universal Champion, Bill Goldberg. He gets interrupted by, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. And he wasn't alone. Oh, no. Tonight, he was the advocate for his client and number one contender for the Universal Championship, Brock Lesnar. Basically, Paul Heyman was being like Michael Fletcher. He was being basically a hype man, if you will. Hyping the bout, and then one thing led to another, and then all of a sudden, he said, hey, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar is biatch. And then all of a sudden, Brock Lesnar, bada boom, F5 on Bill Goldberg, laying him out. Battle lines are drawn. Of course, I know the worst nightmare for Michael Fletcher came true last night when Goldberg won the Universal title from Kevin Owens. It's Goldberg and Lesnar for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. So, but this was definitely a very newsworthy segment. So, Michael Bullock, let's start it off with you here. Goldberg's first promo as Universal Champion quickly interrupted by Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, and then Lesnar lays him out with an F5. Another great segment on this newsworthy show tonight.
Yeah, I thought this was a good segment here, and basically, I mean, the crowd. I mean, what can you say about the crowd? I mean, they were all over Bill Goldberg, and then out comes Paul Heyman, and he's not alone. He's got the Beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar, and boy, all I can say is Brock Lesnar, he certainly made a statement and gave Bill Goldberg an F5. Well, this is basically like him saying, "Welcome to F5 City, biatch." And he basically said, "You know what? I'm coming for you, Bill Goldberg. I'm coming for that title at WrestleMania." So, well, the message was sent, and let's just say, I mean, Goldberg wasn't affected. I mean, he was basically right back up afterwards. So, yeah, so yeah, so we're gonna have to wait and see what happens when these two face off for the title. A lot of people were ripping this to shreds. And I know a lot of people are not looking forward to it. I know we're not looking forward to it. But I think, Anthony, I think you said, you know what, just give it a chance. Will you just give it a chance and see what happens? I mean, I don't think it's going to be anything special. So we'll wait and see as we now are officially on the road to WrestleMania. So Florio, I toss it up to you.
What else is there to say? This was another very good segment here. It's between it's between this segment and the opening segment when it comes to second to third best in-ring segment, rather. What happened at the end?
I think this one is this one here is the third best segment, and the Jericho and Owens thing was the second best segment.
I agree with that. Because it was a mixed reaction at best. Promo interrupted quickly. Yes, this was Bill Goldberg, not Roman Reigns. Chicago is a tough town, and they went from chanting Goldberg's name during his entrance to booing him, mostly when he referenced being Universal Champion. I don't get the feeling that the average WWE fan has turned on Goldberg. After all, the Milwaukee crowd went nuts for him the night before. Even so, this may have been a preview of how the WrestleMania live crowd will react to Goldberg. So, I mean, I don't know what is there for me to say, honestly, except Heyman was really good there selling the match, and Brock needed to finally get one up on Bill Goldberg. So it was another good segment, but because of the body of work of the other in-ring segments, I can only give this the third best segment of the night, even though Paul Heyman was money on the mic, as always, like he always is and probably always will be. I mean, he's never had a bad day at the office on that, maybe once or twice, but other than that, Heyman, Mr. Consistency. He's damn near money in the bank on the mic. Everybody knows that. So despite that, third best segment of the night, because of that awesome segment with Owens and Jericho at the start, and then of course what happened at the end, which we're all chomping at the bits to get to, especially a certain phenom here. So that's it for that. So third best segment for me. MF, you said no comment last night. I don't know if that's still how you feel, or are you finally gonna, address this? Because I know this is your worst nightmare, and I know how very upset you are about this whole thing. I know you don't. I mean, I know you didn't want to see the fight to begin with, but now that the belt's in place, you let them have it, and I'm sure. I mean, honestly, how are you feeling about this?
Look, I'm gonna try to be as professional as I can be about the situation. Look, at the end of the day, it didn't need the belt. It doesn't need the extra for the title to be on the line as hoping, because Goldberg and Lesnar alone is box office. I think a lot of people are, some are already tuning out of it because we've seen this many times before. But others were like, you know what? Still a big fight. Let's get the culmination at WrestleMania. Let's end it there. Okay, fine. But what really upsetted me is that I don't know why WWE thought it was a good idea to include the Universal Championship just to make it bigger, make it better, because it didn't need it. And that's the thing. You got two of the greatest from the WCW era and one in WWE that is, without a doubt, probably one of the biggest names in combat sports history. Wherever he goes, no matter if he's a face or a heel, he's box office. Brock Lesnar is an attraction on his own. And what really got under me is the fact that WWE has realized that by putting this at WrestleMania, okay, that's great. I'm not arguing that. But to put the Universal Championship, a belt that just got created in August, you're putting this belt up for grabs for that title, and it's a small history. Finn Balor is the first ever Universal Champion. Was the second champion because they had to drop the belt due to injury. Third guy ever hold this title. And in all intended purposes, you're going to make the fourth title or the fourth champion will most likely be Brock Lesnar. I think we can all agree Lesnar is probably primed to become a Universal Champion, and he's going to be the fourth champion in that illustrious history. But Finn Balor, full-time wrestler. Kevin Owens, full-time wrestler. Bill Goldberg, Brock Lesnar are part-timers. That's the biggest problem. Lesnar wins this belt. When is really the next time he gets to defend the title? SummerSlam, possibly? I hate to say it, the Universal title, obsolete. That's why I get so angry at WWE. You're gonna make the title a joke. You're gonna make the title. And remember what happened when Lesnar was the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Does anybody remember what happened? The belt wasn't defended for how long?
It wasn't until the Royal Rumble.
So, for the life of me, I think WWE, you're making a humongous mistake. And that's why I got so triggered. That's why I went angry. And I needed a little bit of some time to let it sink in and try to clear my head. Because let me tell you, I know Anthony wanted me to go on that Viper rant last night. I think he knew. He knew me too well. He knew I was stewing. He knew I was on a rager. I tried to hold it in as much as I could because I know myself that if I would have gone off, look out. Everybody would have had to duck and cover. So now now look at what we got tonight. Brock Lesnar comes out, nails an F5 on Goldberg. Here's another thing. Since Goldberg returned, he wasn't even touched. He didn't even get hit or hurt or whatever. Maybe a couple of pounds there, and then got eliminated at the Royal Rumble. Thank you, Undertaker. But at the end of the day, he never really suffered any significant injury or damage until the night. Until Brock Lesnar basically F5'd him. And we got to wait and see what happens then. But this was good. This was solid. I like it. But like I said, once we get closer and closer and closer to Mania, that creep of doubt is going to start hitting. And anybody who thinks that this is going to be a 5-star classic of a championship fight, forget it. You're not getting it. This is going to be a UFC 3 to 5 minute fight. That's what you're going to get. This isn't going to go no 15, 25 minutes. These guys are not meant for that time. They're not, honestly. Unless they start lollygagging and wasting our time like they did with the Owens versus Goldberg last night, where it literally took, 10 minutes just to even get the fight started? And then we got 22 seconds of actual fight time? No. All right? I'm done with that. I'm not going to deal with that. That's why I'm dreading this fight. If anything has told us the history of these two guys, we won't see anything amazing. I'm calling it right now. This is going to be the worst fight of the night for WrestleMania. There's nothing more for me to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
I think Bullock.
I already talked about it.
Yeah, Bullock let off on the segment. So yeah. It's not that I was expecting you to. It's not that I wanted you to go on a Viper Random F. I was just expecting it. That's what I was. That's what I was expecting, because I know how very vocal and very upset you've been about this whole thing. And I mean, you hinted at it, when the match was made and the whole 9 yards. And now that it's a reality, I mean, you basically let loose. So that's all. So, but there will be a lot more time to address it. Trust me, there will be. So, and I hate to say it, but I agree. I actually agree with you, MF. I think we are probably looking at the worst fight of the night at WrestleMania with Goldberg and Lesnar. I mean, if WrestleMania 20 didn't teach us anything, and then that whole thing at Survivor Series didn't teach us anything, we're probably looking at yet another dud between these guys. So that's all there is to say on that. We got plenty more time to get into that. So let's move on now. Raw Tag Team Championship on the line here. Second title match of the evening. A return match from last night's Fastlane. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson defending against Enzo Amore and Big Cass. Gallows and Anderson retain the titles. They win the match 6 minutes and 58 seconds via a disqualification. So and because of that, Gallows and Anderson win it. They are still your Raw Tag Team Champions. 1.5 star match. Not very good while it lasted. It felt as if they were simply killing time until the DQ. And it looks like they're seemingly setting up another multi-person match for Mania. At that point, it was easily the worst thing I had seen on the show at that point. But Gallows may have saved the career of Enzo by reaching out to catch him on that overshot suicide dive. Looks like they are setting up a triple threat tag title match for WrestleMania, but it's possible they will do something to remove a team or even add teams between now and WrestleMania. And it was announced that next Monday night on Raw, after a very heated backstage segment, that Enzo and Cass will go up against Sheamus and Cesaro in Detroit at the Joe next Monday night on Monday Night Raw. And the winners will face Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson for the Raw Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania. So, to me, 1.5 stars. That's really the best I can give it. So MF, MF Bullock, I don't know if you guys want to get into it, but you don't have to get into
no
the fight.
No comment for me.
What's that, Bullock?
No comment for me.
No comment from you? All right. I don't know if MF feels the same way.
Nope, I got nothing to say.
I figured. So next week, Gallows and Anderson will learn their WrestleMania fate. Will they go up against Cesaro and Sheamus, or will it be yet again Enzo Amore and Big Cass? I'm thinking triple threat at WrestleMania. That's what I think. I think it's going to end in a clunky finish. So that's just my taste. So all right, fair enough. Okay, now we got cutouts here. We had another lame duck cruiserweight matchup, but actually, hold on 1 minute. I believe before that they did the Hall of Fame induction. Yes, they did. Before we get into our next cutout, let's get back to a more positive situation here, and that is the announcement of the latest WWE Hall of Fame inductee. I actually knew about it in advance. I had a little downtime on the job today, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe they probably announced who the next inductee is, and sure enough, they did. And we have a posthumous inductee. This inductee passed away April 20th of 1999, but he's finally going into the WWE Hall of Fame. Well deserved. Should have happened a long time ago, but here it is. He's here. He's going into the Hall of Fame. Ravishing Rick Rude, the ravishing one, is going to the WWE Hall of Fame. He died on April 20th of 1999 due to heart failure. And he was survived by his wife, Michelle, and their 3 children. Autopsy reports showed he died from an overdose of mixed medications. And at the time of his death, Rick Rude was actually training for a return to the ring. So, as is customary with everything else, the list of accomplishments here, run them down briefly. NWA Southern Heavyweight Champion, Florida version 2 times. NWA United States Tag Team Champion, Florida version 1 time with Jesse Barr. That was part of Championship Wrestling from Florida. In the Continental Wrestling Association, he was the NWA AWA Southern Heavyweight Champion 1 time. And an NWA AWA Southern Tag Team Champion 1 time with King Kong Bundy, of all guys. Jim Crockett Promotions / World Championship Wrestling, 3-time WCW International World Heavyweight Champion, including beating the Nature Boy Ric Flair at Fall Brawl in 1993, which you can see on the WWE Network. Awesome match. A 1-time United States Heavyweight Champion in WCW, NWA World Tag Team Champion, Mid-Atlantic version 1 time with Manny Fernandez, and was in the Nintendo Top 10 Challenge Tournament in 1992. Pro Wrestling Illustrated Most Hated Wrestler of the Year in 92. Was ranked number 4 of the top 500 singles wrestlers in the PWI 500 in 1992. Was ranked number 57 of the top 500 singles wrestlers of the PWI years in 2003. In World Class Championship Wrestling / World Class Wrestling Association, NWA American Heavyweight Champion 1 time, a 1-time WCWA Television Champion, and a 1-time WCWA World Heavyweight Champion. And then in the WWF / E, 1-time Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. You remember he defeated the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 5, and then lost it back to the Warrior at SummerSlam in 89. The winner of the infamous Jesse the Body Award. Oh, yeah. In 1987, won the infamous Jesse the Body Award. Of course, now inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2017. And the Wrestling Observer Newsletter, 5-star match in 1992 as part of the Dangerous Alliance with Steve Austin, Bobby Eaton, Larry Zbyszko, and Arn Anderson against Sting's Squadron, the War Games match at Wrestle War. That was Sting, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Dustin Rhodes, Barry Windham, and Nikita Koloff. Best heel in 92, most unimproved in 93, and also worst worked match of the year in 92 against Masahiro Chono at Halloween Havoc. So, what I'd like to have right now is for you 2 gentlemen to, I'm trying to do this as best as I can in my best Rick Rude style here. I'm going to make this an open forum, so I'd like to have one of you 2 guys wax poetic about a man who, according to some of the ladies out there, was a real sexy man. Hit the music.
There's really nothing to say. When you think of Rick Rude, you think one word. He was practically one of the guys that I used to hate in World Wrestling Federation when I started to watch him. I think we all know the rivalries he's had. Him and Jake the Snake Roberts comes to mind as one of the best rivalries we ever saw in World Wrestling Federation. Him and the Ultimate Warrior, him and Roddy Piper. I mean, on and on. And the thing was, the heartbreak was, I really felt like WWE kind of didn't really utilize him correctly. In a way, they didn't. There was a major fallout. About 90, 91, that's when he left, went to WCW, and had a really good career in WCW as well. A part of the Dangerous Alliance, Anthony, you alluded to that. And not only that, but he became I guess you could say it's the international champion, but to me, that was the true WCW World Heavyweight Championship when he beat Sting in Tokyo, Japan. Such a good match, and it's a legendary fight. You guys have to go out of your way to watch it. It's on YouTube. And then for him to become the DX, the advisor for D-Generation X, and working with Shawn Michaels and Triple H and China at that time, that was so cool. But the biggest shocker, and this is why a lot of people were wondering, what the hell? He appeared on Monday Night Raw, and then magically, out of nowhere, appeared on WCW Monday Nitro on the same night. And you're thinking, wait a minute. They were in this city. Rick Rude's in that city. What the hell is going on? Here's the reason why. Monday Night Raw was recorded the night before, so they aired it live at that time. And then about a short while later, before Nitro decided to call it a night, Rick Rude appeared live on WCW and basically said, I'm done with WWE for life. And then hit a scathing promo about Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Vince McMahon, the WWF at the time. And you're thinking, what in the world would happen? They were playing politics with Rick Rude. They were playing politics with them because of a contract, because it was basically, if you appeared, you got money. He wanted something more lucrative. He wanted pure assurance that he was going to be there in the grand scheme of things. Vince McMahon kind of balked at it. Eric Bischoff did not. That's how Rick Rude landed in the NWO. And the rest was history. So at the end of the day, Rick Rude was a good professional wrestler. Passed away at such a young age when he did, and at a time where wrestling was really good. And I feel so bad because, like I said, he was a great wrestler. If you see him in the United States, you're thinking, a lot of the times they watered the moveset down. But if you ever seen Rick Rude in Japan, he's amazing. There's really nothing for me to say. Congratulations. Welcome to the Hall of Fame, Ravishing Rick Rude. Michael Bullock, or Anthony, if you want to jump back in, go right ahead.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Bullock, before you do, I just found this. in regards to Ravishing Rick Rude's Hall of Fame induction, and I want to get a quick thought from MF on this. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is going to be inducting Ravishing Rick Rude into the Hall of Fame. And that's legit. WWE.com.
Wow, that's interesting. Ricky the Dragon. All right. Well,
I was thinking maybe Jesse the Body Ventura would induct him.
Well, I think Jesse would have been one candidate. I would have thought Jake the Snake, but Jake is supposedly gonna be the one that's inducting
DDP.
Diamond Dallas Page. So that's out of play. I don't know. I don't know who else you could have gotten for Ravishing Rick Rude. I mean, Sting would be a candidate, I would think. Paul Heyman, because of the Dangerous Alliance. I mean, sure. But then again, this is the family's decision. And if there's, and that's the thing, we also got to remember that this was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is a great choice, no doubt about it. It depends on was it, and I'm thinking this is from his wife who probably made the call for this. So whoever made the call, one, even though we could say, oh, it could be this guy, it could be that one. Ultimately, it's the family's decision,
and we have to respect it.
But I don't think. But there's really nothing bad about that decision, unless there's something that's behind the scenes that we don't know about, which I think we'll definitely get to know about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, especially when it relates to this, because maybe there's something. Maybe they were traveling buddies. There's always stories about these guys, that they partner up, driving from city to city. When you're wrestling 300 nights a year, maybe this is one of those things. Maybe there's some stories that we've never heard of that Ricky might be able to enlighten us. Get to show, the inside, the human side of Ravishing Rick Rude.
Exactly. And remember, these two had an awesome 30-minute Iron Man match at Beach Blast in 1992. So it definitely makes sense for that. So, Michael Bullock, let's get your quick thoughts. No need to run down the accomplishments. I already took care of that. So your thoughts on Ravishing Rick Rude going into the Hall of Fame the ravishing way.
Yes, he certainly is going into the Hall of Fame the ravishing way. And yeah, it's about time. I mean, he should have gotten this honor a long time ago, but hey, it doesn't matter. I mean, as long as he got in, and that's all that matters. And I mean, I'll never forget some of his rivalries, especially with Jake the Snake Roberts, and of course also his rivalries with the Ultimate Warrior. Not just for the Intercontinental title back at WrestleMania 5, but for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam 1990. So he's had some pretty good rivalries. So there's really nothing more to say. So congratulations to Ravishing Rick Rude. You finally get into the Hall of Fame, and I mean, you look at the list now. I mean, you got Kurt Angle, Express. You got Diamond Dallas Page. You got the Glamazon Beth Phoenix, and now you got Ravishing Rick Rude. So who's going to be next? We're going to have to wait and find out next week. So Florio, let's just move on.
Yeah, and did you mention Teddy Long, Bullock?
Oh, Teddy Long, yeah. I completely forgot about him.
Theodore R. Long also in the Hall of Fame class. I mean, this is definitely shaping up to be one of the great Hall of Fame classes of all time. With Kurt Angle and the Rock and Roll Express, Theodore R. Long, Diamond Dallas Page, the Glamazon, and now Ravishing Rick Rude. So with 3 more weeks, with 3 more Raws remaining before WrestleMania, I mean, I'm sure we'll probably get a couple more inductees announced, and we'll run it down. But yeah, great points, great stories by all. Ravishing Rick Rude, the rivalries with Jake the Snake and the Ultimate Warrior and Roddy Piper, and what he did in the WWF back then in the 80s and into the 90s, and of course in WCW, the feuds he had with Sting and Ric Flair and a few others down there. But the Sting fights were amazing. And of course, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat beats Blast 1992, 30-minute Iron Man match. I believe that was for the United States Heavyweight Championships. So, and hey, Rick Rude beat Sting for that title. And he also beat Ric Flair to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Fall Brawl 93 in Houston, Texas. I remember that like it was yesterday. What a match it was. Jesse lost his mind on commentary. So that's all I can say about that. And of course, the Jesse the Body Award. I mean, one quick story before we move on, and that is, and this is something that MF and I can definitely appreciate. The banter that Gorilla and Jesse had over the Ultimate Warrior and Ravishing Rick Rude. I mean, with Jesse the Body Ventura, pro Rude, obviously. The Jesse the Body Award, and of course, WrestleMania 5, which I actually watched back yesterday. I'll admit it. I'll never forget he was talking about Bobby Heenan getting the gold for the first time, and then talking about the Jesse the Body Award in Atlantic City and all that. And Gorilla would always counteract, well, Ultimate Warrior's ripped too, Jess. And yeah, you got to put paint on his face. He's ugly. I mean, the banter that Gorilla and Jesse had during the Rude and Warrior feud was some of their personal best work. And that's definitely the one that stands out for me. So, but nonetheless, well-deserved, long overdue. I'm glad he's finally getting his moment. And Ricky the Dragon Steamboat will induct him, no doubt about it. So I posted a link to the WWE.com article in our text chat box, so MF can check that out. So there you go. So congratulations to Ravishing Rick Rude, newest inductee into the Hall of Fame, on behalf of all of us here at Ridiculously Raw and all that. So yeah, we do have some more cutouts here, so let me run down them. Another cruiserweight match, Akira Tozawa against Arya Daivari. Akira Tozawa wins in 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Back to reality for the cruiserweight division after those two incredible championship matches with Neville and Gallagher at Fastlane and Neville and Swan earlier in the night. Akira Tozawa continues to make the most out of his short Raw matches, looking good and winning over the crowd. And it also sets up another angle with Kendrick for tomorrow on 205 Live. So definitely we'll look to see what happens there. And like I said, back to normal, back to reality with the cruiserweights with a lopsided 2-minute bout. Kendrick's tease of a verbal response on 205 Live was not much of a hook for the Tuesday night show. And obviously, the other angle is more of the hook with what Aries has in store for Neville. So then we had the New Day against the Shining Stars. New Day won in 1 minute and 15. And this is where the show actually took a spill, honestly. It was not an earth. I mean, the rating is not going to be super high. I mean, but it will definitely be a lot higher than what we saw at Fastlane. If I could describe that New Day Shining Stars fight, I mean, and by the way, Tozawa and Daivari, that was no rating to a dud. Same thing with New Day and Shining Stars, no rating to a dud. I'm just going to sum it up in one word: filler. Well, I'm probably going to need more words. Pointless and unnecessary filler. Trifle unnecessary. So, all right, now we're back into relevant stuff here. General Manager Mick Foley was in the ring, and he brings out the Raw Women's Champion, Bayley. Bayley says, well, I don't like what happened last night. I don't like how I won last night. I'm having doubts. And then Sasha Banks shows up and says, hey, if you're going to fight anybody at WrestleMania, it should be us. And then Foley says, what do you think about that, Chicago? And then all of a sudden, Charlotte and Dana Brooks show up. Charlotte goes on her little whiny rage like she always does. And then Stephanie McMahon comes out and took another jab at CM Punk. Called the crowd losers just like him. Another burn on CM Punk. And then Stephanie makes a big announcement regarding the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Bayley will defend the title against Charlotte. But she's like, okay, Foley, I'll do this. Sasha, I'll give you an opportunity. All you have to do You win your match, you're in. Unfortunately, you're going to be fighting your friend, Bayley. So Bayley and Sasha go at it here. If Bayley wins, the fight stays one-on-one with Bayley and Charlotte. But if Sasha wins, it's a triple threat match with the three of them at WrestleMania. Winner of the match in 13 minutes via submission, the boss, Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks gets her shot. She will get the opportunity at the Raw Women's Championship. It's now a triple threat match. Bayley, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, WrestleMania. I do not remember who's supposed to be starting this off, but I believe I started off here because I think, we had some cutouts after Bullock led off on something. So I'll just start it off here. It's about time that Bayley showed that she wasn't proud of how she won and actually showed conflict. Unfortunately, the segment became more about Stephanie and Foley's issues over the title, which hurt it for me. It's one of the things that makes Raw more tedious to watch as compared to SmackDown Live. Whereas on SmackDown Live, they feel like they're actually working together to make their show a success. While on Raw, it's the Stephanie McMahon ball cutting show. Now, sure, part of it is the setup to write Foley off for his surgery, but she was definitely cutting some nuts balls off on and dominating segments she didn't have to long before the draft and Foley's return. So, and don't get me wrong, I love Stephanie. I love her, but she's been more of a burden on this show than anything else.
And annoying.
Right. And one of the things about SmackDown Live is they make it less about their authority figures, Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, those two work together.
Yeah, Shane O'Mac and Daniel Bryan, they get along great.
While Stephanie and Mick Foley are at each other's throats.
They're like brother and sister, for Christ's sake. I mean, I'll sum it up like this. Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley, you know what the whole thing between the two of them is? They're like two chimps on a damn Davenport in a basement.
Well, it's about Stephanie McMahon basically thinking she's better than everybody.
That's unfortunately it's sad, but it's true, Bullock. You're absolutely right. And
it's almost like she's inserting her authority figure, and you know how much we like that? Yeah, freaking right.
Said no one. And let me just say it like this. Like JR once said during one of the Eric Bischoff era shows. If Stephanie Foley cares more about the business, but if Stephanie cared more about the business instead of embarrassing and humiliating people, they'd have a damn better product. Guaranteed. So, little mini rant over on that.
And by golly, that's enough, Steph.
Enough's enough. This show is supposed to be about the young men and women who bust their ass and leave their families 300 plus days a year to ply their craft in that ring.
And Stephanie McMahon only cares about herself.
Yeah.
What she wants.
It's not the Stephanie McMahon show.
She's like, she doesn't care about what the people want. She doesn't care about what you and me want. She only cares about what she wants. And as far as I'm concerned, Steph, you could take your authority figure and stick it.
Yeah. So, little mini rant over. But as far as the fight goes, Sasha winning it in about 13 minutes. Okay. Let me see if I can try my best here. That was such a mess. Live crowd sat on their hands during the bout with no real incentive to cheer for one woman over the other. Bayley was close enough to the ropes to break the hold, so it seemed like Charlotte interfered on her behalf for no good reason. As bad as all of this has been, I guess we now know the mystery is whether Sasha has been conspiring against Bayley. They took a really odd path to getting there, though. And it started out really rough. It did get better, but the crappy end and overall booking took away from my enjoyment. Bayley is as pure a babyface as you have. You make her look like she doesn't deserve her championship and then have her lose here. It's like they look at the booking of the Raw women each week and say, hey, how can we take all of this talent we do use and screw it up even more? The only positive is that I think it's for the best that Nia Jax is not involved. They will have a better chance of delivering with just these three. And if we all remember what happened last year when we had Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch, when they tore the house down in Jerry World, I've got a good feeling those three can tear the house down. So find something else for Nia Jax to do. That's all I can say on that. So, but as far as the effort goes, I can only give it 2 stars. That's the best I can do. So, with all that being said, MF, the segment, the bout, it's now a triple threat. It's Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha, women's title, Raw women's title at WrestleMania. Your thoughts on all this craziness?
No, first off, I liked what I saw. I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. I think it was solid for what it was worth. I liked the body of work of everything that was included at the time. Hoping for something a little better or a bigger payoff, but I'm not gonna go completely or freak out about it. I think it was, it was good. It was good for what it was worth. It was solid enough. I got nothing bad to say about it. So I think it was solid, and I'll leave it at that. So nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's yours. As far as the match goes, maybe two and a quarter, 2.5.
Yeah, I'll give it 2.5 stars. I mean, I thought it was good for what it was. I mean, yeah, I mean the crowd really wasn't into it. I mean, they were basically sitting on their hands. And yeah, I mean, now we know it's going to be a triple threat match at WrestleMania, so there's really nothing more to say. So Florio, I give it to you.
Alrighty. Then we move on to let's see what we have here. Then we had the exclusive look at the rehab for Seth Rollins, and then Triple H, did a via satellite interview. He says Rollins is stupid for saying he'll be at Mania, but he always lies to himself. And smartly did it backstage, staying away from the live Chicago crowd. He says if Rollins calls him out at Mania, it'll be the last thing Rollins does in the ring. So that's all there is to say about that. And then we had another vignette for Emma. Well, you remember when we had all those Emmalina vignettes? Well, the evil Emma vignettes started. Coming soon. So stay tuned. Insert your I can't wait for 2018 jokes here. Then we had the match, Samoa Joe squaring off against the United States Heavyweight Champion Chris Jericho. Samoa Joe wins the match at just 3 minutes and 52 seconds via countout. Oh my goodness. Guys, are we actually going to consider this a cutout, or is this something that needs to be addressed?
Cutout.
Yeah, Bullock answered it. I mean, I'll just say it like this. Colossal disappointment. 2 stars. Work was solid, and that was likely the best result to do right now. Joe, quote-unquote, wins, but Jericho gets some revenge post-match hitting the code breaker. Joe needs wins right now, and Jericho can easily survive a count-out loss. It was solid, but it was not overly spectacular. Honestly, I was expecting a classic between these two, given their bodies of work, but man, oh man, I cannot believe that's all we got. So it was basically a that's it kind of thing. Yeah, that's what it was. And okay, now this is the segment that we've all been waiting for. This is the segment that we've been ready for,
and one that I've been looking forward to
for 2 reasons. First of all, Bullock, if you will, because it was the monster among men, Braun Strowman.
Roar!
Yes, Lord. Braun Strowman. He said he wanted to finish what he started at Fastlane against Roman Reigns. He wanted Reigns to come to the ring like a man so we could rip him apart. At first, you hear Roman Reigns music, but then it gets interrupted by the gong. What? Oh. What a surprise. Who shows up? The Undertaker. Taker was in Chicago. And what a pop he got. And Braun Strowman backs down. He leaves. And then we actually do get Roman's theme song this time around. Boo! Did you hear that? Did you hear those boos for him? Oh my!
Boo Roman Reigns!
And we also got chants of Roman sucks. Roman sucks.
You knew that. You knew this was going to happen the moment the Undertaker was in there.
And Roman Reigns basically told the Undertaker, "This is my yard." And Undertaker not having it. Doozle, choke slam. And as our girl Luigi PS3 always likes to say in her videos, later for you, Roman Reigns. So
6 feet under.
So that's it. So I think it's MF who actually starts this off. So Bullock, I know you're chomping at the bits, but we got to get MF's thoughts on this first. So MF, what a way to close out Raw with a surprise appearance by Taker. I mean, I didn't know anything about that. Did you?
Yes, I did. I knew Taker was going to be there. There was a couple of dirt sheets circulated that Taker was going to be in Chicago, and sure enough, yes, he was. There he is. This was awesome. I mean, Braun Strowman calling out Roman Reigns, trying to pick a fight, and he got a person he did not expect to show up. Taker showed up. Braun's like, you know what? I don't want nothing to do with you. You're not who I want. I'm standing down. Next thing you know, here comes Roman Reigns. And, you know, he looks at Taker. Taker's looking at him. He's like, with all due respect, this is my yard now. They both looked at each other. Both looked up at that huge sign that said WrestleMania. And I thought Taker was going to go for the throat slash. Oh, no. He didn't just throat slash. He grabbed Roman, doozled him, boom, right in the center of the ring. And that was his way of saying, you know, you said it's your yard. You're just a pup. Yard. You ain't, this isn't your yard yet. It's still my yard. And my goodness, man. I mean, look, that's what you expect from Taker. That's what you expect from what undoubtedly is now going to be the fight for WrestleMania. It's confirmed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Roman Taker confirmed. It's gonna happen. Nod, wink, whatever. And yeah, like you said, with Luge later for you. Happens because I'll tell you one thing. You know what I gotta say, and Dead and Old, who's a fan that I like, and Mascat KO, also on YouTube. The people you love to hate, they hate Roman Reigns. They're probably getting goosebumps right now out in Glasgow, Scotland. They're probably losing their minds when they get to see this tomorrow, and it is going to be unbelievable what they're going to react to. This was awesome, man. Nothing to say. Great way to close Monday Night Raw. Bullock, it's yours.
Hey, this is the segment of the night, without a shadow of a doubt. Like you said, he was calling out Roman Reigns to say, let's finish this off so I can hurt you. But he doesn't get him. He gets the Dead Man, the Phenom, the Undertaker. And these two literally just stare at each other. Braun Strowman basically backs off and says, I don't want anything to do with you. And then Roman Reigns basically comes out and he tells the Dead Man, with all due respect, this is my yard. And then they have a standoff, and then they look at the rest. And I was thinking the same thing too. I was thinking that maybe he was going to go for the slash. Oh, no. He literally went for the throat of Roman Reigns, and he chokeslammed him 6 feet under. That's basically his way of saying, you're just a little pup in the dead man's yard. And I always be my yard. And it will always be the dead man's yard, Roman Reigns. So, yeah, the match is on. Undertaker, Roman Reigns, WrestleMania, and you're going to get crucified big time by that crowd in Orlando because it's going to be under Roman Reigns going to get booed time in Orlando. So, segment of the night and a great way to close out Monday Night Raw. Florio, it's yours, and all I can say is Roman Reigns, I don't think anybody's going to feel sorry for you.
Oh, no. No, indeed not.
Especially for this phenom.
Absolutely. So, overall review of Monday Night Raw. I'm going to open forum it, and I'm going to start it off here, guys, if it's all right. It's a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 for me. Overall, well, actually, before I do that, I got to give you my quick thoughts about the segment. Of segment of the night. I mean, what else is there to say? Strowman leaving the ring came off like it was meant as him showing respect. Throwing the line from Strowman about Chicago disliking Reigns, and it left me wondering if a possible double turn is in the works. Of course, there have been a million times when Reigns could have been turned heel and they haven't budged. But maybe this time will be different. But nonetheless, I mean, I believe that The Undertaker disputes your claim of property rights to this particular yard, Mr. Reigns. So, shots fired. It's not officially on the WrestleMania card as far as what I see right now. I'll get into that in just a moment. But like I said, this was a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 for me. After an extremely disappointing Fastlane pay-per-view, WWE came out swinging with the first hour of Raw and actually got me thinking that we were going to get a damn good kick-ass show. Hour 1 was really, really good and one of the better hours of Raw in a while. But after the Lesnar-Goldberg segment, the second hour saw a severe drop in quality with numerous cutouts. Hours 2 and 3 were rather mediocre. Not bad, and they did accomplish things. But the final 2 hours just dragged for me, losing that buzz and energy of the first hour. What do I recommend? I recommend the Owens and Jericho segment. I recommend the Swan and Neville cruiserweight fight, the Neville and Aries promo segment, the Goldberg-Lesnar segment, maybe the women if you'd like, and I'll throw in and you have to see what happened at the end with the Undertaker showing up to go after Roman. So it wasn't the best show. It was not the most overly spectacular show, but it was a solid show. Much better than that god-awful effort we had last night at Fastlane. The WrestleMania card as of right now, Bayley, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship. Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens for the United States Heavyweight Championship. Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. 3 Raw matches so far booked. Only one for sure on SmackDown's end when you have Bray Wyatt defending the WWE Championship against AJ Styles or Randy Orton. And I know MF's going to have something to say about that when he sets up Cerebral Smack Talk for tomorrow night. So that's all I can say on that. So 6.5 to 7 out of 10. This Raw, far and away better than that god-awful Fastlane. Big-time newsworthiness, setting up several WrestleMania bouts. So you got those 4 officially, but I think Taker and Roman will get added eventually. So much better effort, WWE. Not the best, but much better compared to what we saw in Milwaukee. So, all right, MF, your thoughts on this Monday Night Raw, which was far and away better than that god-awful Fastlane.
7 out of 10. I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. I thought this was an amazing show. I think they really delivered on everything you were expecting. So, no, you made the point. There's nothing more to say. Yeah. Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
I agree. 7 out of 10. I mean, definitely. I mean, not great, but better than that Fastlane pay-per-view that we got last night. So there's really nothing more to say. So, Florio, it's on to your Tony's Take.
Yes, indeed it is. And we got 205 Live, we got Impact Wrestling, and I've got some very positive feedback about Impact Wrestling, which I can't wait to share with you all in just a little bit. But first, we got 205 Live right here and now. So let me see if I can. Just gotta look up my liner notes here. But yeah. Okay, let me see. Yada. Okay. 205 Live, of course. All right, there we go. Let's see. Well, there will be a decent feedback here, so here we go. There were 2 wrestling matches and a segment on this show, so we started it off with a match. Noam Dar squaring off against Lince Dorado. Noam Dar wins it in 4 minutes and 5 seconds. 2-star match, perfectly solid but a forgettable fight. Dar won and got some momentum ahead of his Fastlane kickoff tag match. Dar does very little for me in the ring, and the angles surrounding him also just does nothing to interest me. They aren't bad, but they just haven't connected with me yet. And then, well, actually, there were 2 segments, 2 in-ring segments. This was one of them. Akira Tozawa calling out Brian Kendrick. Austin Aries hit the ring to interview Akira Tozawa, and I really enjoyed Kendrick's storyline arc in the Cruiserweight Classic, but do not feel that it's translated well at all to the main roster's vision of the Cruiserweight division. And he comes off more as a liability and hasn't been used to really elevate anyone. So that's all I can say there. Then you had a 6-man tag team match. Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, and Ariya Daivari against TJ Perkins, Mustafa Ali, and Cedric Alexander. The heel team, Nese, Gulak, and Daivari wins the bout. 10 minutes and 25 seconds. Far and away the fight of the night. 3 stars. They worked their way into a good fight and with a wildly fun second half of the match. Again, felt like a missed opportunity for the guys to really open up and put on a really great athletic display. But it was still a very good match. So 3 stars there. And then you had the address, Adrian Neville addressed it with his State of 205 Live address, interrupted by the gentleman Jack Gallagher. Very good closing segment to add some heat to the Fastlane title match. Neville is a great villain and works well with Gallagher, who the fans, including Bullock, love. And we hope that it translates to Sunday's fight, and it certainly did. That was one of the very few bright spots of Fastlane. So, as far as this fight goes, as far as this event goes, this show, it's between 6 3/4 to 7 out of 10. Overall, a pretty good show as they continued Kendrick and Tozawa, presented a fun 6-man tag, and built to the Fastlane title match. So a solid edition of 205 Live. So no complaints there. One of the better efforts. So 6 3/4, teetering on 7 out of 10 for that. Okay, now we go to Impact Wrestling, and this was the final show before the big tapings with the new regime, with Jeff Jarrett's group. Before Jeff Jarrett's group takes over the reins. And what a way for them to go out. They went out with a bang, boy. We started it off with the last Knockout standing match for the Knockouts Championship. Rosemary defending against Jade. Winner of the match in 11 minutes and 20 seconds. And still your TNA Impact Wrestling Knockout Champion. It's Rosemary. This was the fight of the night. 3 3/4 to 4 stars. Like their other matches, this was a very good match to cap up their 3-match series. My only complaint was it went just a bit too long and that the ending was a little flat, holding it back from being really great. But I love that Rosemary got the definitive win without any help. She is great so far as champion. Now they just need to properly feature her. And with Maria Kanellis Bennett and husband Mike Bennett leaving the company, that's most definitely going to help matters. No doubt about it. And then you had the segment with Moose and Cody Rhodes. And Cody actually knocked Josh Matthews down. Moose then hit a big dive on the Cody and all that. I didn't care for the week before angle, but this was a really good follow-up. This was definitely better. Jesse Goddard's against James Storm. James Storm wins the match in 6.5 minutes. It was a 2.5-star match, but there was just too much BS that constantly disrupted the flow of the match that would have been better without it. DCC is a rather bad stable, which is a shame. X Division Championship on the line. Trevor Lee defending against former partner Andrew Everett. Winner of the match and still the X Division champion Trevor Lee pulling the tights and getting the win. 7 minutes and 20 seconds. 3 stars. This was actually good. Worked at a great pace and felt like an X Division showcase. More of this, please. More. And then they show the Hardys winning another tag team championship, the national tag team titles of the world. Both Broken Hardys, Rebby, King Maxwell, Senor Benjamin, Vanguard won. How wonderful and delightful that was. The only thing that we needed was I was hoping they would have broken out into celebration with a nice little helping of some succulent and delectable green beans. Yes. That's all I can say on that. So, Broken Hardys just continue to be simply awesome. And then from there, Impact Grand Championship on the line. Drew Galloway against Moose. It went the distance. Winner of the match via a split decision. And new Impact Grand Champion for the second time, Moose. Moose regains the title. 3.5 stars. Very good outing from these guys. They have good chemistry and did some great callbacks to their previous bouts. I assume that the split decision was done because Galloway had not re-signed yet, and they were hoping he would. Of course, as you all know, Drew Galloway officially has left TNA along with the Hardys. Maria Kanellis, Mike Bennett, they left too. So, and then we had the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship: Bobby Lashley against Josh Barnett. Winner of the match in 9 minutes and 1 second, and still TNA World Heavyweight Champion Bobby Lashley. 2.5 stars. I really appreciated that they worked this in a completely different style to play off of their MMA backgrounds. Unfortunately, it did lack a cohesive flow, and they heavily edited it to erase the controversial finish, which likely hurt things. Also, there was no heat for Barnett because they rushed into this and didn't give fans a reason to care. It was a fine experiment, but nothing I need to see again. I have no desire to see that again. Overall, though, 7 3/4 to 8 out of 10. First of all, let me get the lone negative out of the way. Josh Matthews' commentary was absolutely atrocious as he worked his new heel announcer gimmick. Unfortunately, it came off poorly like Michael Cole's efforts, as most of the time it was too obnoxious and took away from the product instead of enhancing a good show. This was an all-time worst performance by a wrestling announcer, as he made me want to mute the show. Other than that, this felt like the best Impact in a while. And of course, it comes 1 week before the latest course correction. I hope that they can take the momentum from this show and follow up on it next week. What do you need to see on this? Not the championship matches. With the exception of the World Heavyweight Championship match, you don't really need to go out of your way to see that. But Jade and Rosemary, go out of your way to see that. Moose and Galloway for the Grand Championship, you got to see that. I'll even throw in the X Division title match because that was actually halfway decent. So, very good show. 7 3/4, teetering on 8 out of 10. Very, very good show, even with that Josh Matthews heel commentator gimmick. And he was actually, I never thought I would say he was worse. I never thought I would say somebody was actually worse than Michael Cole. But congratulations, Josh Matthews. You're worse than Michael Cole. God forbid. So, okay, now, big news when it comes to what we got coming up on this week's Impact Wrestling show. I don't know. I mean, I know Bullock doesn't follow it. I know MF is following the dirt. MF follows the dirt sheets very closely, just like I do when it comes to TNA. I know Bullock only follows WWE and all that stuff, and that's fine. Oh my goodness. Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards, they go at it. And then we're going to have a new addition to the commentary team. Jeremy Borash is going to be joining the Pope and Josh Matthews, but there will be more changes. Reno Scum will go up against Kingston and Bram. Braxton Sutter versus Caleb Connolly, DJ Z, and Marche Rocket. I don't know if this is a contenders match or whatever. Brandy Rhodes is going to go up against a young lady by the name of Casey Quinn. Well, it actually will not happen because Cody Rhodes gets involved. And then Rosemary is going to show up. Bruce Pritchard. You remember Bruce Pritchard, formerly Brother Love? You remember him. He came out and cut a heel promo. And he brings out Bobby Lashley. And then he brings out TNA's newest signing. Well, I'm not going to spill the beans on who that is. You got to tune in Thursday night to find out who that is. And then another mainstay in WWE. Do you remember Zeb Coulter? Dutch Mantel? He shows up. And he cut the promo. And then Cody Rhodes calls out Moose. And then the Laredo Kid and Garza Jr. will go up against Tyrus and Eli Drake. Sienna will be in action against Rachel Ellering. And the newest TNA signee will be squaring off against Bobby Lashley for the World Heavyweight Championship. So you do not want to miss this show on Thursday night. You really don't want to miss this show on Thursday night. Trust me when I tell you. So, all right, that's it for this. So, Ridiculously Raw has come to a conclusion for this week. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We're going to wrap it up with our shout-outs. Open forum as always. Bullock, MF, whoever wants it first, feel free. Just save me for last, and I'll set up the future content. So, gentlemen, it's yours. Whoever wants it.
All right, I'm gonna start it off. Thank you very much as always, guys. You guys are the best fans in the world. Super fans. You guys already know who you guys are. Friends in junior high and high school days. Much love to you. 2184 crew. Unbelievable. As always, you guys are awesome. All right, now later tonight, or I guess tomorrow, it's gonna be another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. And let me tell you guys, I got a loaded show. Number one, I got myself, of course, there is SmackDown Live. We got some Ring of Honor stuff. The Manhattan Mayhem went down, and let me tell you guys, you are not going to believe what I have in store for you. Yeah. And let me tell you, it is going to be glorious, stupendous, and wonderful.
Delightful. Splendid, yes.
All right. Down. And then some New Japan Pro Wrestling stuff. Yes, we had some NWGP stuff going down. Their 45th anniversary show and a mega fight for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. It was my man, the leader of chaos, the Rainmaker, Kuchihara Okada, putting the title on the line against Tiger Mask W. Now, in Japanese anime, Tiger Mask W has become like the new cool animation, and they use Kota Ibushi as Tiger Mask W. He gets an opportunity at the richest prize in Japan, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship of the world. Who won that fight? We'll cover that and a whole much more. Special start time of 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Until then, I'm Mike Fletcher. You know the routine. Hug the hand pounds. I'm out. Good night. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yes, of course. We thank you so very much for tuning in for another edition of Ridiculously Raw. So, shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's this or the Cerebral Smack Talk or Strictly Sports. Doesn't matter. We really appreciate it. And of course, shout outs to the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Dee Woodson. And of course, to Kevin Woodson, the rest of the Woodson family. Of course, to all of our other super fans out there, you guys know who you are. Of course, to our friends from the high school days, you guys know who you are. And of course, to Derek Ferreira. So yeah, that's going to do it for me. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, which I will be on, this is the Phenom Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. And of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it a 4-4 style. Bye for now, my friends. Enjoy the rest of your night. Florio, take us home. And yes, since we didn't do the Raw chat tonight, let's do a SmackDown chat.
Sounds good to me, man. I'm all in. Let's do it. So, all right. So, before we wrap it up here, I do want to take a quick moment to send a special shout out to all of you tremendous fans and viewers out there. Gentlemen, 202 views for our preview show of Fastlane on last Thursday night. Awesome. We're grateful. We appreciate it very much. I mean, 202 views for the preview of Fastlane that we did on that Thursday night. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, you are the best fans in the world, and all of you tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make our shows as they are, especially that preview show. 202 views. That's an awesome number. We appreciate that very much. So, all right. Special shout out, of course, to the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson, who couldn't be with us tonight due to a family crisis. Hopefully, she'll be with us tomorrow night for the Smack Talk. Of course, shout out to her family as well. Hopefully, the crisis is averted. Of course, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbar, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, along with our other First Ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway, and the rest of our crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alvin, Al Braderson, Rob Parsons, and of course, the man himself, the Hardcore Pipe Bomb, Derek Ferreira. And one quick announcement I need to make. With Selection Sunday being this Sunday and right around the corner, it's already up and running, guys. I have already reinstated the Strictly Sports CBS Bracket Manager on CBSSports.com. It's up and running, guys. Bullock and Fletch, I hope you guys will throw your hats in. Derek Ferreira has already thrown his hat in. Matt Ward has thrown his hat in. So,
and you could say I'm throwing my hat in.
About it, MF. 2-time defending champ, you are. So go. I'm hoping you'll go for the three-peat. So
I'll most likely jump in. It'll just give me some time, and yeah, I'm in. I'll gladly defend my title and do it again. Yeah, I'm in.
2-time defending champion, by the way. Good old MF is. So CBSSports.com, Strictly Sports Bracket Manager up and running. So feel free to, if you're interested, we'll work out the details. So future content, of course, tomorrow night, Cerebral Smack Talk, like MF said, 10 p.m. We'll review SmackDown Live. Mixed tag team match, John Cena and Nikki Bella squaring off against James Ellsworth and Carmella. But the big main event that they announced tonight, we're gonna have ourselves another number one contenders match, and we're gonna get it. We're gonna get a dream match tomorrow night, guys. The phenomenal AJ Styles and the Viper Randy Orton. The winner of that match will be the undisputed number one contender for Bray Wyatt and the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. Oh my goodness. Styles and Orton? Yes, please. We're all looking forward to that in Indianapolis tomorrow night. And then that loaded Mikey's mindset, like MF said. And I can't wait to get into that ROH stuff. Yes. That's all I can say on that. And that's tomorrow night. And then Friday night, boys, we got a mega docket for Strictly Sports. So bear with me on this. Le'Veon Bell gets the franchise tag. Antonio Brown signs a contract extension with the Steelers. Adrian Peterson gets released. Jarrell Rivas gets released. Brandon Marshall gets released. I think we're going to segue all of that into one segment. We'll call that our NFL corner, if you will. And then we'll have a couple of NBA news, Kevin Durant getting injured, Joel Embiid out for the rest of the season. We'll throw in some UFC. George St. Pierre to fight Michael Bisping for the UFC middleweight championship. We'll recap UFC 209 and MF. You wanted to talk about it? Derek's giving you the clearance. You're going to get to talk about Fight Night Brazil, buddy. You wanted it, you got it. So he put it on the docket. And Michael Bullock, you're actually going to get a moment on this show. You're going to talk about your experience doing the Super Plunge this past weekend. So that's going to be our double main event right there. Bullock's experience doing the Arctic Super Plunge. And then to close it out, of course, our NHL Power Rankings. And gentlemen, I'm also pleased to announce that this Sunday night, we are going to have our 6th annual Strictly Sports Selection Sunday Special. Time to be determined. We'll figure out a time for that on the night, whatever time's good for all of us. So as soon as we work it out. But Sunday night, we're going to have a Selection Sunday recap. We're going to have a Selection Sunday special. You know what we do with that? We're going to run down the bracket region by region. We'll give our predictions. And ultimately, who we see going to the Final Four and who we ultimately see cutting down the nets on Monday night, April 3rd at University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. So it's going to be one hell of a week. I mean, a big Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow, the loaded Strictly Sports on Friday, and then our Selection Sunday special on Sunday night. So that's it. That's it for this. We're exhausted. We're going to go recover now. So until tomorrow night for Cerebral Smack Talk, it's the ridiculously over gentleman Anthony Florio here. For a good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and the Hardcore Pipe on Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And remember, like I always say, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. Good night, everybody.